Hi, Sarah.
Hello, Zara.
Good to
How are
see
you?
you. I'm
Good
good.
to
I'm
see you
good.
too.
Thank you so much for making the time for today.
Thank you for interviewing me today. I was stuck in the elevator for like 10 minutes,
It's all good.
but
It's all good. All right. First question. What do you do and what's your process?
I'm an architect and designer, and I do have a studio called Circ Studio. The name kind of is inspired from the word circ in Arabic, so which means circus. And the studio is all about like this whimsical, fun, playful manner with design. So I'm not a very serious person with what I do. I'm very random. I don't really pay attention to like error and flaws in a sense. So I like when there's flaws. I like when there's error in what I do. I like when things look weird, unfinished in a sense. And that's what the studio is all about. And the studio is all about kind of also integrating other disciplines into architecture and design, and furniture as well, interior design. So I like to kind of also explore a lot of other means of design. I explore fashion, I explore music, I explore what else? What is there? Photography, all these mediums into what I do. But right now, I'm focused on a lot of furniture and a lot of fashion. So I love clothes. I love worn garments, and I like to think of them as architecture as well. And yeah, that's the studio. And I do a lot of also client stuff, so really like very formal things. But sometimes I don't like talk about that a lot, but it's something to stay in the studio in a
Hmm.
sense. And then there are the other personal projects of Cirque. So it's
Awesome.
two in one.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's super interesting. I'd like to ask, what role does experimentation and exploration play in your creative practice?
A lot. I think there is no final result in what I do. It's always process. I'm always exploring things and I don't reach to an end result, right? So even with like what I design and the objects that I make and the spaces that I do, I feel like it's not the full potential yet. I feel like it can reach to something else.
Hmm.
So I'm not satisfied at all with what I do. I feel like, oh, it can reach like something more. But I also like that. I like to think about spaces and design with things that are unfinished. And obviously, okay, I did not finish it. Someone else can take it over me and finish it with however they
Mm,
see it. So you know how like renovation projects work?
mm,
You take a space that's already been designed by another architect or designer, and then you come and renovate it and have your own take on it.
mm,
So that's my process, I think. I also love to start. This is like the very technical part of how my process happens. It starts with a lot of I would say surfing the internet. I love to be on the zine a lot. Very cool projects there. Instagram is a great platform for designers, niche, small designers. Um, I go through that first, and then even if let's say the project doesn't have to do anything with what I do, I just look at the design language maybe, and I'm inspired by that. So I do that. I look at that, and then the second part, which is sketching. I think sketching is the most important part of the design process. A lot of designers tend to like just kind of jump into 3D modeling or I would say maybe construction drawings or 2D drawings, but
mm.
to me that's like the
That's
a
crazy.
mistake.
Yeah,
That's crazy. I'm like, wait, you did not you don't have an ugly sketch of this? Where is the ugly things? Like where's the
exactly.
process?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really important. Even if it's on your iPad, I love trace paper because I don't know, it's more like messy in a way. If I'm at a cafe, I tend to use my iPad, but I love trace paper. And then from sketching, it's always 3D modeling to me.
Mhm.
So sketching is like the experiential part, and then 3D modeling is more the spatial. So I tend to integrate both, and then I get the project. And then 2D
Amazing.
comes later, like the drawings come later on.
Yeah, I'm so happy to hear that because I feel like nowadays sketching, it's going down because with the rise of technology and stuff, like everyone's chasing these new tools. And I'm not shading the new tools. Like, whoever
No,
wants to
I
use them,
mean,
feel free to use them. But when you make a mark, a physical mark, there's this connection, and if you engage in that process, you understand, what I'm saying.
no, 100%. And I do think I don't do that, but I do want to explore that more. Model making, like, even
Exactly.
with cardboard or,
Yeah.
what did we used to build with? Maybe like
Clipboard,
wood,
cardboard.
board. Yeah. I think that's really important. I want to start exploring that first before I go into 3D modeling, because you get a lot of ideas. You take it and look at it in different, angles, and I think
Yeah.
that's needed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I'd like to ask, what's one project you're particularly proud of?
They're all my children, so I love them all equally. But I would say I'm really proud of, this is like a small project to me, but I'm really proud of it. I would say the Omooma Chair. The Omooma Chair is this chair which is also a space for breastfeeding mothers, and it's to create a very cozy, comfortable space for mothers who are in the nursing process. So and obviously I was really not inspired, but I was really kind of drawn by how a lot of mothers around us, if they're working or if they're at the mall, they're just doing their regular thing and they're nursing, they're new moms, they tend to like just stop what they're doing and quickly go to the car, breastfeed, or to the bathroom. And was kind of looking at that and thinking, okay, how can we not stop their lifestyle, stop what they're doing? And I was thinking maybe we can integrate a space that's in the middle of the mall, in the middle of an office, in the library, where they can go into, breastfeed, get comfortable. There's a curtain in that kind of chair where you can, obviously, if you want more privacy, you can put it on. If you want less privacy, or if you're comfortable with no curtain, you can just keep it open. But it's built like a cocoon, I would envision, and it has like camel leather, and it's very like, warm. It insulates pretty well, so whatever sounds around you are kind of very much lower. And yeah, I think I'm very proud of that project. I love it.
I think it's so interesting. I remember seeing on Instagram you'd be posting the process of making it, and it's just so inspiring. And it's actual solution to a problem. So yeah.
And I'm looking forward to talking to other people to maybe have it be in actual offices and in actual malls, and see how like people interact, not people, moms interact with it.
Yeah. So I've been watching your work very closely this year. It's like coming to the end of 1 year for you at Circ. And honestly, I'm super proud to see not only the variety of the work you're doing, but the speed that your projects get built. I'm so happy to see like, someone finishing build projects, from like our generation or our batch. Like for people who don't know, me and Sarah went to the same university.
Yes.
So just watching
Sara was very young. Were you a year younger? 2 years?
younger,
Right?
1 year younger.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been seeing, Sarah's work as a student and being more refined after graduation and actually building these projects. Just so inspiring. So the question that I have is, what advice would you give to someone who really wants to start their creative practice, but they really don't know where to start?
I always give the same advice. It's the only advice that I give, actually, and it's to always invest in a personal project of yours. If you have an idea in your head that's been stuck there, even if it's like designing a spoon, right, or a fork or whatever it is, put money into that, design it, make it come into life, and execute it, right? Document the process, take photos, really nice photos of the object, and then like just share it online, share it on social media, share it with your friends, with your coworkers. And I always say, like, you really don't know what will happen next. Someone can come to that person can see it and can come to you and ask for a collaboration, or can push it forward more. And I think we're in an age where like, your work getting exposed is really easy, and we should really take advantage of that. And even if you think, oh, I didn't get the right exposure, or I didn't get a lot of exposure, it's always the right exposure, because you don't know who's actually viewing your stuff, right?
True.
And even if you get like 100 views, or I don't know, 100 interactions, there's always one person there in those 100 really like they want to work with you, they want to collab, want to commission you. So yeah, I think my advice is that, and my advice is, if there's an idea in your head, just sketch it out and document it all the time. You don't know when you're going to come back to it. I was working on this project which is called the Tabby Rack, right? And it's a shoe rack inspired by Mason Margiela, and the idea of abstracting the tabby shoes. So it's the split shoes that originated in Japan in the 15th century. And I love tabbies, and I was always inspired by fashion as well, and by Mason Margiela. And I literally, this was 2 years ago, or a year ago, I guess, a year and a half. I just sketched out like a drawing of the tabby rack. I just literally put it in my one of the files, one of the folders. And a year later, someone came to me and they're like, hey, like, we want to shoot you for, do you have any project about fashion? I'm like, yeah, oh my God, I do. But it's still not made yet. Like, I'd never made it. They're like, oh, make it, and then maybe we can shoot it later on. And it's been a year, by the way. I made it and I got it exhibited at a designer, the exhibition, what's it called? UAE designer exhibition in downtown design. And we're gonna get a shoot next month for December with the tabby rack. So yeah, I don't know. I just like keep documenting, even if it's not gonna be built or you don't plan on to making it come into real life, just keep it.
I love
Keep it
that.
documented. Archive it. Yeah.
Yeah, also whoever's interested, check out her Instagram page. And every time Sarah finishes a project, I really look forward to the drawings later. She posts like axonometrics and different sketches and 3D model videos and stuff. So I love how you show the process that, hey, this didn't just pop out of nowhere. It came out of a lot of extensive like research.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I also noticed how people are really more drawn into the process than the finished product, right?
Yeah.
They love to see how this was made. They love to see it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think I also love to see. I also love to document it. So, process is important.
That's awesome. All right. So for my next question, I wanted to ask you, given the state of our world today, with all the mass wars and destruction happening, as a Palestinian architect, how do these current events impact your view on architecture?
Right. I think honestly, when the genocide first started, it was a very frustrating like time for me and for everybody else. Honestly, my creativity and the process of my designs and all of that really just stopped, and I was completely shut down. I think I couldn't design for a bit. I couldn't think of new things for a bit, and it felt off. It felt awkward for me. It felt weird to even think of making new architecture or new anything new. But obviously, like you have to ground yourself and go back into thinking of, okay, like this is what I do. I need to kind of grow with this and not get obviously desensitized, but just learn how to work with what's happening, right?
Yeah.
And I think part of what I did was also kind of wanting to educate whoever I see and whoever I meet, and even whoever I have on social media, and about the matter beyond what's happening. So I was looking into how architecture, how the occupation and how architecture play into this. And obviously it's the biggest part, right? So the occupation is really happening because they want land, and it has to do with building more housing or shelter on that land, right? On settlements. So I was looking into that, and I was always sharing posts and kind of educating. But at a point, there came a point where I was like, whoever got educated, and whoever didn't, like, they're just ignorant at that point, and they want to be ignorant about the matter. But yeah, I do remember that period of time when it first started was very upsetting, and like I was like, there's no meaning to life, and there's no meaning to architecture, and I kind of lost all hope.
Nothing feels important at that time. No personal life feels important.
No, I think I just wanted life to end. Like there was no life beyond what I was seeing, right? But with time, with people supporting and with us like talking, educating, it felt better, but obviously it's still the same. And yeah, I think one of the things that I did was look into ways of how to rebuild Gaza from after the genocide, or even with this genocide happening, thanks to research, materials, because with Gaza and with how very much like it's literally an open prison, so it's even hard to get any materials or any studies or anything into that territory, right? So it's very limiting. Thinking about Gaza is too limiting in a way where like you just lose all hope with thinking about it. But obviously there are ways, and we are thinking of these ways, and I think the first step into this is the genocide stopping, and then from that I think can come to life, and we can think about redesigning or rebuilding Gaza. But
you know what gives me hope is that there is a generation of architects, like Palestinian architects like you, and even non-Palestinian architects who care about the cause, to kind of lock in and pause for a moment and think about what's happening instead of, rushing with new solutions, but really just taking the time to digest what's happening. And maybe today we cannot do any change or anything, but just the thought process and thinking of it deeply. And I know a few months ago you exhibited a project that had to do with this material lab in Gaza. And that was like super interesting to me. And I'm so happy you chose to exhibit that project. You could have exhibited anything, but you exhibited that project. And it was during those months as well. And I can
Yeah.
imagine people entering that exhibition expecting an architecture exhibition or anything, but then actually being educated about a project that's actually so important and enlightening. And I know it's a fictional narrative,
It's a
it's not like it's gonna
cool, yeah, it's a very cool
very
project.
conceptual, but that's
Yeah,
the power of imagination in architecture and these fictional narratives is that you can think of a future that can be very possible.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm on the same way of thinking as well. It gets really frustrating at moments, but at other times there's hope. And
It's just
yeah,
important not to lose hope and keep thinking and keep drawing and not to give up and feel like, we have a role. Even though it's small, we have a role to just talk about it. Not a lot of people
yeah.
talk about it. So yeah, thank you for your answer. Very thoughtful. And my last question is, what are you currently interested in and what's next for you?
What's next for me? So I am working on, I do want to explore more fashion, furniture integrations. So I'm kind of thinking of that at the moment. I'm a bit further from big scale architecture, even though I am working on it with a client who commissioned me. But I feel like to me that's more how I say serious.
Mm.
And I already said I don't like to be serious. So for me, what I will be working on or where my brain is really, really at is my exploration with worn garments or fashion, clothing, and maybe furniture or small scale objects of different sizes, I would say. And also, really, I've been into chess a lot, and I was thinking maybe I can integrate chess into this. So I don't know, that's where my head is at the moment.
Exciting.
Yeah, there are some pop-ups I'm working on as well. But to me, like pop-ups and installations are very like short term.
Mm.
So I want to do more long term. I want to do more permanent things that stay with you and kind of, are there with you. But
I
yeah.
love that. I love that. Well, that's playful,
That's
whimsical, and everything. So yeah, thank
but
you
yeah.
so much for your time, Sarah. I know you're a very busy lady, but thank you so much. And I really appreciate it and would love to have you back on in the future.
Thank you, Zara. Of course. I love what you're doing. I love Informal Studio. I love that you're interviewing people around us in the field. One of my professors got interviewed, Marcus Flower. I was like, oh, okay, this is cute.
Shout out.
Like, I'm honored, you know? But yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for this. Thank you for providing a platform for us as well. And I'm looking forward to seeing what Informal Studio is gonna do, you
Yeah,
know?
a lot of exciting.
Hopefully we'll collab one day.
Yes, hopefully. And then we'll make a
This is
video.
already a collab. This is already a collab. So
There you go. All right, all the best. Bye-bye.
see you. Bye.